All right, what is up, everybody? Eric here, back at it again with Traveling Trading. So I wanted to kind of make this video real quick here, just to kind of touch bases with some of you guys. I know it's been a while since I've been able to do something updated, and that's just because it's been very busy towards the end of the summer slash beginning of fall time frame here for me. Had baseball tournaments and football games going and stuff like that. So yeah, just kind of getting a little bit busy to make these videos, but these last 2 days have been pretty decent. So I just figured I'd just kind of catch you guys up on what's going on in the market and things like that, and just kind of refresh where you guys need to be prepared into going into the rest of this year. Because it's already September, we only got 3 months left into the year to kind of call it a wrap for 2023. Okay, no doubt it's been slow. Point blank. Period. Part of the market cycle. We already know this. For those of you who are experienced, know that this is that time frame where you're gonna really be tested mentally and emotionally when it comes to your trading and actually sticking to your strategy. That discipline is gonna kick in when it comes to this time of year, just because things are gonna be slow. If you haven't noticed it already, that's exactly where we're at. All right. So what I wanted to do here real quick is just kind of touch on a trade here that really just tests everything for you as a trader. So if you're making it through these times, kudos. That's all I can really tell you because it's going to be tough and it's just part of the game. But as you can see, there are still opportunities out there to capitalize on. Okay, um, that's what the alerts are there for. You get opportunity there to do whatever type of trading as you is that you do, and just stick it to your strategy. So I wanted to kind of go over this trade here because a lot of what I touched on too in the advanced trading course is on here, and you guys, if you don't have like experience with it, this will be a good example of some of the things that I teach in that course. Okay, so without further ado, let's just kind of jump into it real quickly. Quick heads up for a lot of you. If you don't know already, Fed chair meeting is tomorrow, so expect tomorrow to be really, really, really slow, really, really choppy, as it's been these last few weeks. Okay. Luckily, we've had movement these last 2 days to capitalize on. Made a little over 4 grand, and just being patient. Okay. But let's just kind of go into my trades that I did for Monday and Tuesday, and just kind of go from there. All right. So no doubt it, we witnessed trading AVGR. So this trade was kind of the most obvious one on Monday, and I explicitly stated this in the alerts. It was so easy to read and catch up on. If a lot of you messaged me and was wondering like how the focus was on that one versus any other trades, and it was pretty simple. So let's kind of walk through that whole process real quick so you guys can get an idea of that, and also how today capitalized well over 3 grand on it just be from having that same filtering process of deciding what it is you're going to trade and how you're going to trade it. Okay, but it was pretty easy. I mean, it was already on the watch list, and for this morning, so it was kind of a gimme if you were watching price action. This is why price action is very important as well too for you guys to understand. Okay, so let's dig into it and just kind of go right off the back from beginning to end with this trade from yesterday all the way up until today. So let's just first start with the trade itself. The alert we got, obviously on Monday morning, we had the watch list out, right? So let's see here. Sorry, this thing is running really slow. So this is pretty much the watch list, right? AVGR wasn't on the watch list. Watch list was very light just because there wasn't much activity going on after hours on Friday, which was kind of to be expected. Okay, so let me close that bad boy out. Now let's kind of go into pre-market here. Let's slide this down a little bit. All right. So this right here is one of the first alerts, which AVGR. We didn't get it till like 8:30 a.m. Okay. Let's take a look at the chart. So obviously, as you guys know, and then I teach in the course, how to start to filter out and scan what stocks you want to trade. Whether you use the alerts or not, whether you use trade ideas or any of the things that I tools that I give you guys, really the alerts just kind of simplify all of it. And even if you were to go through the stream of the alerts that was there. The only thing that we had available in the morning to really look at was WRX, SQL, maybe TCON, and then AGRI. AGRI. those were like the top fives. And if you're looking at the volume in between those stocks on there until AVGR hit, there wasn't not there wasn't any like activity going on price action wise. It was little movement here and there, but not enough volume for you to be able to get in and get out and execute during pre-market. Except AVGR, that one stood out significantly, which is why it was filtered down to the one that I wanted to trade. Um, you know what? Better yet, let's just pull it up on TradingView. But anyways, if you were to kind of compare all those stocks that were showing up in pre-market, that one would have been the obvious one that stood out. And as you can see, when I had posted in the group for the alerts, hey, watch list SQL, RDHL, AVGR, and it was still slow in volume. Those were the top three that I was watching at. The volume was still slow that morning. And I even said it, so take it light. But AVGR was the one to focus on because of the fact that the chart on AVGR compared to the others at the time was trending upwards, whereas the other ones were trending downwards. Okay, so let's go to that real quick and take a look at it in pre-market. Kind of was already drawing it out for you guys here. So the first trade I got in this bad boy here, I got in after the bell, and luckily I got filled at a really good position. Got filled at 590. Okay, so here it is pre-market, right? And what kind of stood out to me is as the moving averages, or whether you're using MACD or Squeeze Pro, kind of similar to the same thing. As they were turning up, support level was right here at 506, right? And so as we're coming into the bell, I'm looking left, looking back. I can use 506, 505, whatever you want to use. That range as a good level of support, resistance, and where to base my entries and exits at, right? So clearly, coming out of the bell, let me just kind of give you an idea of what it will look like. Let's say coming into the bell, it's looking like this, right? And I had posted, I believe, that, going into, you guys know just my rules. I'm not going to hold through the bell. I'm going to wait, okay? And then we just talking about other alerts there. But compared to all the other stocks in pre-market, this one was actually beginning to trend up. Remember, high point, low point. Anything in between this is fine. That means it's still worth looking into because of where it's at. Volume weighted average price is the yellow line. So as we're looking at the high point and the low point of the moving averages, and it's pulling up right here, obviously I know it's going to come back. As long as this second time doesn't break this, I'm looking at a good potential possibility to jump in this trade. And as it slowly begins to turn up, it begins to get very bullish. So what I'm looking for is a quick little sign of a break, which is good. Now obviously at this point in time, we're at opening bell, so I'm prepared to set my order to try to get into like the 580s or so. But I got in at 590, which wasn't bad. As long as it didn't start to turn the other way, I was fine. Now, as the bell opened up, I placed my order, 500 shares, got in, locked in, 590. And the reason why I was holding it now, it didn't just end up green. Obviously, as you're seeing it real time, it's going from red to green, red to green, red to green. And this is where sometimes people get emotionally stopped out. And I don't like to really trade the first few minutes of the bell. I like to have it give me some direction before I enter in the trade. But the fact that the volume started picking up was a good sign and indicator for me to go ahead and take that risk. But also, too, there was no reason to get out because, of course, again, it's slow. So I didn't expect volume to be very, strenuous anyway. However, it played in my favor. As long as price action wasn't going to go the opposite way, I was good because I'm anticipating it to continue to go up just because of where it was at during opening bell and, the squeeze pros and the vortex indicators telling me that it's still in the uptrend. So that's fine, right? So I'm in there at 590s, getting filled, red, green, red, green, red, green. Never broke below the VWAP, which is great. And then I believe someone in the chat room, I can't remember who it was, but someone in the chat room had mentioned how it began to consolidate. And that's the clear sign that either he or she has studied or just knows, what they're doing because they've been in the game for a long time. Either way it goes, it was kind of obvious. And I drew the lines prematurely here to kind of show you guys what they mean by that. So as the price action is going through between, tops and bottoms, and it's starting to consolidate and consolidate and consolidate, it's either going to go up or go down. In this instance, it was an uptrend, which is great. And you can kind of tell that because the price action of it consolidating is still above the volume weighted average price. Now, it is a possibility that it could have just, trend downwards, but either way it goes, you should be ready and prepared to set that risk to reward. For me, I was okay. Again, I got in at 590 and I said that my risk to reward was going to be around the $5.05 area or range. So as long as it didn't break that, I'm well within my ability to hold it based on my risk to reward management. Okay, I wouldn't have lost a lot of money to me relative again. So because that happened, I held it through you know, through the actual break there. And it was bound to break. You just have to be patient and know what you're looking at when it comes to reading the chart. Okay? The alerts will filter it down for you of what stocks to look at. It's up to then you as a trader to understand your trading strategy and what you're going to do. I can only teach you but so many patterns, so many things to look at. At some point, guys, you got to understand what you're looking at. You also got to have that discipline and, fortitude to be able to just stick to what your plan is. And that's exactly what I was doing. So I was waiting for that break. I was telling myself, I'm going to take profits either when it breaks or when it doesn't. If it does break to where I want it to break, I'm going to let it, stay there and, do what it does. And as you can see, spiked on up, got in at 590, got out at 5. That's a $3 move there. So that's not too bad. And then I went ahead into my profits. Had about a good $1,200 profit locked in. And that was my only trade for the day because the rest of the day, and again, the beginning of the hours are the most volatile. It's going to start to die down and flatten out a little bit when it comes towards lunchtime, and then power hour, it might pick back up. Simple things that I teach you guys, okay, in the course. You should know this. So as we come into the, afternoon hours time frame, it begins to level out, and it eventually breaks the volume weighted average price, and it gets a little bearish there. Now, the key thing here, I want you guys to understand that even though it's bearish, let's just say if I did enter in at 590 or, whatever that range might be, right? I'm still in the green had I still held it and was being greedy, but I wasn't. I mean, eventually it came down to like the 560s and showed great level of support. This thing stayed down here for a very, very long time. Now this is in power hour, guys. Quick little note: if you're seeing price action, especially after something that's moved like this, still start to grind out. Look at all these spikes. This is just being pushed up and pushed up and pushed up. That's a good sign there as it's flattening out to, probably become bullish at that point. Or if you're a bear and you're shorting it from this area, go ahead and take your profits because buyers are stepping in and thinking that's a good price. Okay. Now, let's just say by some chance you happen to just hold on and hope, or even if you got in at 590 and you was prepared to, take the loss at 505. Look, it's still never touched there. So you still had the discipline. If you had the discipline, you still had the time and everything like that to still, grab profits, which is great. Okay. Because look at what happened after hours. This thing just shot on up. Now, again, this is all power hour. Not much power going into power hour, but the first few minutes to an hour when it comes to after hours trading, it's a good idea to, stick around for that because it's possible opportunity to profit there, which is why I always recommend you guys to use like Webull or really just any broker that'll let you trade after hours or pre-market as early as possible and as late as possible because you have an advantage there that other traders don't. All right. Had you been holding on to this bad boy or even stuck to the risk to reward that was there, you could have easily profited. This thing jumped up to $11, almost 12, I think, after hours, and then just faded on out again, which is, something to anticipate. Pretty easy. Now, quick thing. Obviously, this was the end of Monday. You guys know how I do the watch list, things like that. And a lot of you ask me, why was this on the watch list again? If I'm a day trader, why am I not, why am I trading a stock twice, on the same day? Well, for the one, with this trade here, I got in and got out the same day. Let's just say I was greedy, undisciplined, and, didn't really stick to my rules. That's one rule I'm going to stick to is closing out my position from early pre-market to late after hours. Had I been stubborn throughout my actual trading process, I know for a fact that I do have to actually cut my, losses. I would have made out with a profit regardless because of the fact that it moved after hours, and I needed to go ahead and close my position. Okay, didn't want to turn it into a swing trade because I never know what's going to happen in the morning. So this would have been a good idea of being just like, sticking to your strategy per se for risk management. Just from risk management, not from your actual strategy, just for risk management purposes. Because again, my cutoff level is going to be 505 in that range, and it never reached there. Okay, which is good. I could have made out just from risk management alone. I could have made a pretty decent profit. But again, I stuck to my strategy and got out early and wasn't mad. Even when this was happening after hours, I was like, man, I should have just stayed in because I think I got out at like $9 and change, I believe. I didn't get out at like 11 or the peak or whatever it was, but still a good profit. And I can't be mad at the day. Now, what I was saying is the reason why this was on the watch list again for Tuesday mornings because of the activity after hours. That's a good indicator that something could possibly happen potentially the following morning. Okay, and now here we are pre-market the following morning. Excuse me. Let me pull this down here a little bit where we were at. Boom, as you can see there, guys, had it on the watch list for Monday. We had ELUT, and then we had AVGR, and pretty much the news catalyst that came along with it, which we kind of expected. So obviously, if it's on there for me, it's going to be on there for other traders. So it's going to be looked at. Eyes are going to catch on to it, and guess what's going to happen? Market makers are going to move the price in it to make it, the orders get filled to see what the price action is based on the market's, filling of the price of the stock. So here we are in pre-market. Had a volume spike to $8.28. Let's just say if you got into it whenever in pre-market. I mean, from here on up is pre-market, right? $7 and change. You got that first initial spike, boom, to $8. Then you got to pull back, pulling up under the volume weighted average price, and then boom, spiking up again. If it's doing that and it's just grinding along the volume weighted average price, guys, and then towards the end of the bell, or towards opening bell, it started to grind up. I even said to you guys in the chat room, like, hey, something I'm going to be looking at is pretty much this bad boy. Let me pull it up here real quick if it's in there. That was from today. AVGR, blah, blah, blah. Let me try to slide down a little bit more. Try not to go past it. Ever since like this update. Yeah. So I was closing my position before the bell. Okay. And that's pretty much what I did. So that's just, again, my strategy. You guys know I don't hold in between the bell, right? I got in really late. In fact, I didn't get into this thing until like, what was it, 11? I got in at 8:14. Yeah. Got in at 8:14, like right around here, $8.14. And that's just because it was grinding and grinding and grinding. I said, I'm not going to wait any longer. I'll take the risk. Now, there is the possibility that I could be hit with the wash sale rule if it does go against me. Keep that in mind in your risk management because I did, trade it before. And it's been, less than 30 days. So, it's just a day before. So, wash sale rule does apply. Keep that in mind when you're managing your risk. But for me, got in at $8.14. And then as it began to grind up, I was like, okay, great, I'm in the green. I got out at $9.42. Didn't want to risk it any too much because of, what happens opening the bell. Like I told you guys, I don't like to hold through the bell, too much volatility, but I'll get in after the bell if I'm thinking it's going to go my way, which is what I did, yesterday with the same stock. So got out of the bell and then just kind of wait for it to, do its thing and start to give me a little bit of direction. And it ended up doing that. Which is cool. So it kind of just shows you like, you kind of just see there where it's been going throughout the opening bell, right? So that's pretty much how that all played out. Now, another thing with the way this kind of worked today, the volume on it was very, very slow. So once it broke that volume weighted average price, depending on what your risk management is, it's in the bearish territory, which is understandable. Someone else said this in the group chat as well too, how it was, power hour, and it began to, get bullish. And this is why I tell you guys that those are the key points of the market. Okay. Pre-market, opening bell, skip lunch, come back to power hour, last hour of the day, look at the stocks that you want to look at. Obviously, you should be looking at something that was either, having a high volume or, one of the higher trading stocks of the day. Whether you want to long it or short, it doesn't matter. Because remember, at the end of the day, other traders got to, execute their position as well too. So that's kind of why this thing began to trend up, slightly there. And then after hours, it just took off. So I got in after hours. I wasn't holding it through the bell or power hour. I wanted to see the movement that it was going to do after hours. And after hours, it continuously popped up. And so I was like, you know what? Might be worth it to get in. Got in this bad boy again. This time I did 1,000 shares at like $11.08. And it actually played out pretty nicely. It spiked up all the way like $12 and change, and I just let it grind out, hold through. I was gonna wait for it to break even if it did, just to take that risk, but it still began to like grind along, grind along. And I figured, oh, it's gonna have to turn eventually, then it's gonna pop. Usually around mid after hours, I'm not going to hold the stock through then. And so I just sold it into the spike here, which was a good little profit. It was like a 28% profit, guys. About a good little $3,100. I think it was like 31.65 that I made off of this. And I'll post the results, and the results are in the Facebook group, guys. You can go look there. I mean, but anyways, I'll post that at the end of the video too. But that was pretty much how that all played out. So guys, you got to understand, like keep in mind that price action is going to determine a lot, especially in the way the market is nowadays. And one little thing here that a lot of traders, or a lot of you traders, have been messaging me about and been getting confused with. You got to understand, when you're entering the trade, a lot of times usually the stock is going down because you got to remember they have to account for your actual shares like that. And the reason why it's so different from you doing like a demo count or paper trading is because when you paper trade or demo count, the movement of the stock is not taking into account the amount of shares that you're doing. Okay, and that's what I tell you guys in the advanced course as well too. Or just in general, I think I tell you, like, hey, take the paper trading with a grain of salt. It's good for studying strategy, but it has nothing to do with actual discipline and movement of the market, because the market will actually move. If someone did trade 600 shares, the price is going to drop because it has to fit that market cap, okay, until other buyers and other people step in. Remember, you're buying, guess what? Someone's selling. And if someone is selling, it's going to cause other people to sell, which is going to drop the price in the stock. Pretty simple there, guys. All right. But these are things that I had to learn on my own. Okay. No one really taught me. The mentors I did have were kind of vague. So, this is why I try to share this information with you guys, just so you can have as much detail and knowledge as possible. So that way you can be the best trader that you can be. All right. Again, sorry I haven't been able to make a lot of these videos. Just been very, very busy. Again, football, baseball, tournaments coming up. I got my wedding to go through. I'm supposed to be moving. I got a lot of stuff going on. So I don't have the ability to make these videos as much as I'd like to. Hopefully, as we get into the winter, maybe even early 2024, I can just do this more consistently for you guys, but I still have like my other businesses to run and things to do. As you guys can see, I am still trading. Just because the market's slow and you probably don't hear all that hoopla about, things have died down since 2020, haven't they? Now you're starting to feel the real effect of what it's like to really be a trader. I'm still trading, and I post it every day in the Facebook group. So I just don't have time to review as much as I'd like to. But eventually I'm going to start getting more consistent with this as things begin to level out for me and I have more free time, do a lot less traveling and things like that. We'll get into it a lot more, okay? But other than that, guys, I hope this video helped you out. This is a prime example of like some of the environment of what the market is around this time frame. Usually towards the end of October, things will start to pick up again, but expect this kind of choppiness and slowness in the market for the next couple of weeks or so. So be selective with your trades. Again, this is why I only trade like 1 or 2 trades a day. Don't get too greedy. I understand that you're trying to grow your account as much as you can, but it'll get there. Just give it time and let things compound. I do apologize for not being able to do the small account challenge like I wanted to. I again been super busy, so I haven't really been able to focus in and kind of get everything set up for it, but I'll do it later. We definitely will do it. I definitely want to do it. And actually, we're going to put a little spin on it. It's going to be a little different than like a small account challenge, but we'll talk about that some more for you guys that are in the groups, in the chats, and all that good stuff, and all you guys who subscribe. So, but yeah, just kind of keep practicing, guys. Keep at it. I know it's tough, but it's doable. Trust me, you're not going to become a great trader overnight. Just like you got to learn in life, it's literally the same way with trading. You just got to stick with it. Okay. Eventually you'll become good. But yeah, just be dedicated, be motivated, be hungry, and fall in love with the learning process. Don't worry about the results and the outcome. Fall in love with learning this stuff, okay? So I'm out of here. I'll post this video, the full video for you guys, in the group and everything like that. And message me if you have any questions. I'll try to get to them as quickly as I can. Redoing the website as well too. The advanced course will be up there for you guys who want to have that, and I'll start putting more detailed stuff up in there. It's a little light right now, but it's just there for you guys to learn like basics of things. But it's just again, leading you to different paths of learning different things about trading. So check that out as much as you want. And then just kind of continuously being there, because I'll let you know when I update things with like different tools, resources, just little knowledge to share for you guys who are trading and things like that, for those of you who will have that course. So that's pretty much where I'm going to put all my stuff from here on out. I'm not doing any more courses. I'm not doing anything else. So now you pretty much just have the alerts and you have that advanced course where I'll do all the recaps and teachings and all that good stuff that you want to kind of go over. And not just small caps too. We'll talk about large caps and things like that. So I got all that stuff planned for you guys. Just kind of, bear with me. One man show here. Just trying to do everything I can just to make it as meaningful as I can for you guys. So if you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. I'll be here for you. But other than that, guys, talk to you soon. Stay green.